Welcome to episode 205 of the Left Behind Game Club. This week we played Chants of Sennaar. Let's get right into it.
You're listening to the Left Behind Game Club.
Welcome to Left Behind Game Club, our never-ending attempt to make sure that no game is left behind. I'm your host, Jacob McCord, and today I have three friends with me. The first friend, you know him, you love him. His name is Travis Colnut.
Oh, hi.
Oh, hi.
How can I say hi in glyph form that is also audio?
I'm not sure you can do that.
I guess it's hi.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, hi. Our second friend, Alex Martin. Hello.
Hello, world.
We're here to talk about Chants of Sennaar with a third guest. She's been on a few podcasts before. This might be her 7th or 8th appearance on the show. Jessica Fantauzzo, hello.
Oh, hi.
Oh, hi.
Oh,
No,
hi.
you can't steal that from
I can't
Travis.
do it?
No,
He gave me
You
permission.
can. I did.
You got to come up with your own thing.
Share it.
Hey.
I love that. I love that. Hay is for horses. Today we are talking about Chants of Sennaar. It is a video game developed by Rundisc, published by Focus Entertainment, published on Switch, PS4, Windows, Xbox One, Android, iOS, originally released on September 5th of 2023. Before we get into the fast pitch, a couple pieces of business. First off, if you love this podcast, do us a favor and give us a 5-star review on your podcasting platform of choice. It really does help. And you can join the discussion on our Discord at leftbehindgame.club/discord. We start the show with the fast pitch. It is a one-sentence description of the game that we are about to talk about. So with that, I'd like to ask Travis to go first.
Oh gosh, I'm so not ready.
I'm not even looking at you, and I just came to you on it.
I'm so not ready. Oh god. Okay. It is a puzzle game where
Good.
glyphs,
Yep.
language.
You did it. Is that it?
That's it.
Great. Good job.
Huh?
Jess, would you like to go next?
We all have to do it?
We all have to do it.
It's been so long you forgot.
Yeah, I'm like, Travis, you did great. Let's get into it.
You're like, sucker. Fast pitch.
Adventure, puzzle, point and clicky kind of vibe where you're deciphering language and meeting new friends.
That's so much better than
Well, so much better. Alex, can you do better?
A puzzle game that you want/seek to find a way to connect.
There was an Easter egg in that online.
There certainly was.
Very good.
I like that. Very good.
Very smooth.
And I'm just going to go with
Oh yeah, you have to do it.
Duolingo, the video game.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm here for cheap thrills.
But less horny.
That owl, though. Before we get into jumping into what Chants of Sennaar is all about, I'd love to know how everybody played it. Jess and I played together. We played it via PC on Steam Deck connected to a TV. Alex, how'd you play?
So I actually purchased it on Steam,
Whoa.
but
Whoa.
played it on Switch.
So wait, did you buy 2 copies of it?
No. Travis and I exchanged copies because I was going to be traveling and I needed a copy that could play offline on my mobile platform.
Which is nice because like Nintendo did the whole like you get to just let friends borrow your games for 14 days. So it's like here, just borrow your game. So instead of me playing my copy on Switch, I played Alex's copy on my Steam Deck.
Nice.
A little,
At the exact same time. Yeah.
That's cute.
Yeah, so it was nice. But I will say, I played it on Steam Deck, not docked to a TV. And I found
That'd be challenging.
it was hard to read at times.
Yeah.
It was tiny, tiny little writing. I don't know how it was on Switch.
Probably
Could
a little
you read
better
it?
because the resolution on a Switch is probably a little lower.
Yeah.
So the pixels end up a little bigger and
Yeah.
easier to read, I think.
There was like some of the prompts, I was like, what's that say? And some of the, not to get too far into it, but some of the pictures were a little unclear. And I was like, it added to the challenge.
You played
but
on hard mode.
a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, and this game is Steam Deck verified.
Yes.
Which is surprising because one of the things is around accessibility,
Right.
and you must be able to see things easily on
Yeah.
Steam Deck. Plus, the game doesn't default to external Bluetooth and USB controllers on deck, which to me says this shouldn't be Steam
I feel
Deck.
like it should have been like a caution kind of thing, right? And then I even using the magnifier, I was like, this ain't helping. So I just kind of rolled with it. There's a little magnifier that you can
Built into Steam.
Steam, yes.
Oh, on Steam,
Yes,
like-
not in the game. Yes. No, I took out my magnifying glass and I was
No.
yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
how stupid were we playing?
So look, this is
It's
a game.
It's a puzzle game.
It's a puzzle game that is testing everyone's brains.
Yes.
We've talked about it nebulously. If you had to describe the gameplay of Chants of Sennaar, how would you do so?
Okay. Let's see. Essentially, you're going around in a world and you are interacting with, you're seeing like glyphs that are around in the environment or people are saying things. And essentially, it fills out a library in your menu. And you're trying to deduce using clues in the environment, things that people are saying and the actions that they're doing, trying to figure out what each of these glyphs mean so that then you can progress the story. And sometimes it kind of forces your hand into, okay, you have to learn these things in order to actually get something done. Sometimes you don't have to learn everything. And then there's like that one area, but then it kind of keeps going. So there's layer upon layer of like new languages that you're learning along the way. And the puzzles kind of compound on that because you need to use what you've learned previously to keep going. So it's interesting. I've not played a puzzle game that does this kind of language stuff before.
In fairness, I don't think there are many games like Chants of Sennaar.
No. That's
Which feels like an untapped genre. Because like I could play 100 of these.
yeah.
Like I think we got to a point, and not to get ahead of ourselves, where like Jacob got like, I'm tired of solving I don't care.
Right.
Like, I don't need to complete everything in the book.
I got small peanut brain.
And I'm like, again, more glyphs.
Right, yes. Like when new sets of glyphs show up, I'm
Yeah,
like, oh, like
this is great. This is
how
what I
much
want.
more are we going? Like
More.
I like, especially because you're looking at it initially and you're like, oh, there's just, I got like 40 here or so. And it's like, oh, it just keeps going. And you didn't expect there to be layer upon layer upon layer of more to kind of figure out. And sometimes the languages aren't straightforward, like direct links to English and stuff.
Like
so.
the third level.
Yes.
The grammar. The grammar in that language is brutal.
Yeah, I know.
Are we talking about like the poetic? So just to set it up, there
Yes,
are different
yeah.
levels, and in those levels, there is a type of people, let's call it, and each of those people has a language that is sort of built off of an existing language that is out in the world, whether it's a Nordic language, a Middle Eastern language. At some points, we even get to like scientific symbols and iconography as language. And I think the best part, and you kind of touched on this, is you will sometimes not know exactly what someone is saying, but through the context of what's being said or what's being done or the action that they're taking out or the action that they're accomplishing, you can kind of guess what they're doing or what they're saying.
And I'd like it too because I feel like the game it's got a really robust like kind of note-taking system. You're able to look at each glyph and then you can manually type in like what word you think might be this word, and the game will add a little question mark to it so that way then it'll fill it in whenever you see it in locations and people are talking. So it'll be like glyph, word translated, glyph, word translated. So you're kind of able to then use what you think might be something and use that to kind of figure out where you're going with the puzzles. But it's more... I think initially when I started playing, I thought... I think I got confused about what I was putting in for words. Like I was putting in words what I thought it was. And then I thought when I got close enough, it was confirming it. And in reality, it was no, because we didn't talk. There's a notebook that there's pictures. And once you assign a glyph to the picture, it then can, and you assign it correctly, it can confirm that this is the word.
And it tells you exactly what the word is.
Yes. Yes. And so I thought, oh, I'm getting close enough. But I thought it was more like the game was picking up that I was close enough. And in reality, I could have typed anything in there. And as long as I put it in the right picture.
We had that same moment as well where we thought like we needed the word correct.
Right.
For it
like
to,
I'm like, I must not be spelling this right. Or like I
Yeah.
have something that's slightly off.
Yeah.
When I was playing, I had some notes when I was taking it, when I was like, oh, it felt really good to like almost get it right. And then it would almost confirm it. But then I had the same experience where it'd be like, oh, then it prompts you and it's like, you were probably pretty close to right, and you can just kind of fills it in. And
Right.
almost that little piece that where the notebook pops up with pictures, I felt like it's too easy at certain spots after the first language was done.
Yeah, because like I put like there's like warrior, and I think in my I wrote down I put bad person because I think I didn't know what else they would be. So it's like, and then what?
There are no other synonyms for warrior.
And then but at that point I was like, okay, these are the good, because I didn't know there was going to be levels to this game.
Good versus
so
bad.
I'm thinking, okay, what are the devotees or whatever?
Yep.
So I thought good person, and then bad person, and then son is what was God for them.
Yep.
And so I was filling that out, and I thought, oh, interesting. The game recognized that I put in bad person and knew that the warriors were the enemy in this game. And then come to find out, like, there's more layers to it, but then didn't realize I could have literally typed in whatever I wanted there. And I think the game doesn't do a lot to give you kind of any kind of explanation as to what you're supposed to be doing.
No, you're really just thrown in,
Yeah.
which is part of the fun.
Yes. It's funny because literally on our episode on Bloodborne that we just did, I was like, this game doesn't tell me anything. I have no idea what I'm supposed to do. I'm so mad at it.
Rude.
But then I thought to myself, like, oh, I had the thought was, oh, I like that this game isn't telling me what I'm supposed to do. It's refreshing that I have to figure it out. Here's these consoles that are thing. I'm like, I got no idea what this does. Maybe I'll figure it out later. The game is very obtuse. Like, there's no instructions on what you're supposed to do. And it's interesting.
But each of the levels are so finite that you can kind of get lost a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I do wish that there was a map in this game. This is kind of one of my biggest complaints. And again, I'm a simpleton, and that is why I can't remember exactly where the rooms are. Not smart sometimes.
So dumb.
Yeah, you and I both. You're saying we, right?
I thought
she was just calling me
No,
dumb.
I said we. I said we. I had a funny moment where when you discover one of the first consoles and like the purple doors,
Yes.
and we didn't solve it, but like obviously like moving on to the second level, and I had a thought to myself like, Travis is gonna have this all figured out, and we're gonna get on the podcast, and he's gonna be like, I figured it out right away, and then you get to the end, and you're like, okay,
Yeah.
wait a second,
Yeah.
this was more linear than I thought it was.
Yeah. I thought there was a lot more like open, and it's like, oh no, I got to go back to these things and all that kind of stuff. But
I was going to say, like, I feel like when they throw you into the game and you know nothing at all, I feel like that's kind of like probably how babies and like people have to learn language in the beginning. It's like we are evolving language from like you're thrown in the deep end and you're just experiencing it like around you.
right.
And you just have to figure it out.
Right. Yeah. Because really, you don't know any of the languages at all.
My favorite part is when, even if you get some of the words, it almost feels like a broken understanding or comprehension.
Yeah.
And it's very choppy the way the language comes in when people are speaking. But then when you have a full mastery on the language, it actually changes what everyone says to sound like a native speaker.
Yeah. Yes.
You're seeing it like from like a rudimentary understanding
Yeah.
until the entire language clicks, and then me becomes I, and the sentence works, and the
Right.
grammar is correct. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
cool. I like that a lot.
That is really
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah. I made the mistake in that first area of I explored before, like I explored that first full
There's
space.
like 5 different sandboxes that are in a tower that you have to ascend to the top.
Yeah, and you need to figure out enough of the language in order to kind of get through the space. And I explored that whole space, and as you discover more glyphs, it kind of unlocks in your little dictionary or whatever you've got going on. And so I was overwhelmed because I had all of these glyphs that I had no meaning for.
Oh,
Like,
like you were playing catch up of like I have
Yes.
to go. Okay.
I walked around and explored, not knowing that like, oh, maybe, okay, I don't know what this is yet. I didn't take the time to like figure out the puzzles in the first area.
collecting glyphs.
Because the game didn't really tell me like, oh, it's kind of like here's a glyph and the answer is going to be in this general space. I explored that whole space and like found all the glyphs, and now I just have a bunch of glyphs. And I'm like, okay, do I have to sit here and figure out what, like, remember the symbols and all that kind of stuff? And I realized my mistake once I got to the second area of, I don't need to remember, like, the minute I figured out the word, now I don't need to worry about, like, what does the glyph look like, because there's going to be too many to memorize, right? Like, I think my brain went, this game is harder than actually it was in reality.
You played hard mode.
I tried to, yeah, a little bit.
Kind of hard.
Yeah.
But hard in parts, like very uneven, right? Like the first level was very obviously straightforward.
Yeah.
I think we had that feeling on the third level, but again, because we're stupid, because it took. We found the third level so. I don't want to get ahead, but we found it so challenging.
Yeah, honestly, the devotees language and the warriors language, because it is based on like Middle Eastern, where like noun, verb,
It's Yoda speak.
it's Yoda.
But there are also
to us
really
as English speakers,
Yeah.
it's Yoda speak.
interesting clues in the glyph design itself, right? Where we discovered like, oh, there's a line under this one,
Yes.
so that means it's a verb,
Right.
right? Where you lose that as you progress,
And
it
even,
becomes
like,
more complicated.
Even like early on, like the ones that like, here's the location. It's kind of like a
Right.
box with
Yes.
like the people
Everything had a
symbol and then a
similar-
box with like items. So
Yeah.
it's like, okay, there's kind of like some rhyme or reason. So I thought I had to know the glyphs.
Yeah, it was like what plant, and then if they put a box around a plant, it meant a garden.
Garden.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Which kind of made sense. And I was like, oh, dude, which is actually like kind of
Didn't
crazy.
I call it something funny?
Oh, what did you call it? You called it like plant haven or something.
Yeah,
And it stayed that way forever until I was like, Jacob.
All the plants in my plant haven keep dying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's a garden.
Pottery barn.
Yeah.
Like just like
Pretty much. But like, but it was like because you couldn't remember the word for garden.
yeah. I really struggled with my words.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, and it probably wasn't confirming because you're calling it plant haven, but they're all dying. And it's like, well, it's actually plant hell.
it was a desert.
Yeah.
we've talked about the levels at a high level. Tell me some of your favorites and your least favorites.
I have my least favorite
What?
prepared. The second level.
Oh, yeah.
I think going from the first level, which is so bright and colorful, to the second level, I loved the art style.
Yeah.
And especially closer to the end of that level where you're going up the stairs and you start to see like the lizards in the foreground and all of the activity in the background. I thought it was actually really interesting. But the second level, it was just, and obviously intentionally, but like so dreary. And I just, it didn't vibe with me.
Plus, you're not a stealth girly, and
Well, that's a whole other, it's a whole other component.
I
of,
think
like,
the
it
stealth is the
stealth.
worst part of this game.
Yeah.
It's like did they feel the need to like add gameplay?
Maybe.
Alex, you're nodding heavily.
The non-puzzle parts of the game felt very out of place in general in the game.
Yeah.
It made the game's all about like deep thinking, and then like you're like, anyways, I'm just gonna like randomly stealth around some stuff. And it's a very odd mechanic. You're like, what am I doing here?
I will say at least the checkpointing was pretty forgiving. Like if you screwed up, it kind of popped back up right away. So you didn't have to.
It was thoughtful.
Yeah. It was like, hey, we know these areas aren't great. So if you really needed to, like, if you keep screwing it up, you can at least get to a point and then like keep going. But I was glad that the stealth was pretty limited. It wasn't everywhere. There was like a couple areas in the first section, a lot of the second.
Yeah, and then near the end of the game, there's tons.
There's
of it.
tons at the end. I didn't struggle with those end ones though.
But I think we also struggled with the layout a lot in the second level because everything felt so similar.
Right.
And without a map.
Yeah.
And then without fully, because the signs, when you have the language, you can understand what they are. But when you don't have the language, you don't fully know what the signs are.
I had the identical note I basically complained about how slow the movement is over that large map. And if you don't figure out the puzzle in the first try, you get like punished because you have to run across the entire map to figure out what you're trying to figure out in the next section.
And that's the thing, because I kind of learned that like, if they're introducing like a glyph, the answer isn't crazy far outside of the realm of where I have to go. Like sometimes it was, but like I made that mistake at the beginning of getting everything and now being like, oh God, where did I find that one? And where did I find this one? And then once you got into that second area, I felt like it was, okay, I got 2. Let's see if we can figure it out. And I think I was doing it more at the pace that maybe the game was designed to do, because it's like glyph, you can get 1 or 2. Glyph, get a couple. You know what I mean?
So you're touching on something I kind of had like a mental note about.
Yeah.
What was your thoughts on the whole you find a couple glyphs, and if you hit all the words that are inside like a page, it pops up and does that puzzle? Sometimes I felt like that was helpful, but sometimes I actually found it screwed me up more than it actually helped. The little pictures sometimes the one I made a note about was like in the first level, there was like a guitar and with like a little like wind symbol coming out of it. And I associated it with like wind or something else weird. And I was like, oh, that's music or something.
Right.
And I was like, it screwed me up for a while.
I did find that there was definitely, I want to say maybe the second area, there was like something there was 3 of them that just wouldn't click for some reason. And I do find you can kind of brute force it though.
Yes, we might have done some of that.
Maybe tinkered with some brute force in the 3rd level.
Yeah.
And that's the second problem with that mechanic is sometimes you didn't figure out what it really is, but because it popped up, you can brute force.
Right.
So it's like, oh, there's 3 or 4 words on a page, and I think I know 1 or
what
2
these
of
two
them,
are.
and you can just like
Keep flip-flopping.
Like, okay, I know these 2. I'll lock them in, just try both combinations, or a couple different combinations. You can figure it out by accident.
And I think sometimes you can intuit. So in the first language, if you mentioned it, if there's a square around it, it is a building. And so there are only so many building things, or in a later language with the verb. I know this is a verb or plural because there's a line underneath.
Yeah.
But sometimes we just would resort to, we have 6 symbols left.
Yeah.
Let's just, and we know
Especially
these 2
near
for
the
sure.
end.
But I feel like we were never completely off on any of them. It was sort of like we have a general idea, and it was sort of a learned behavior from playing Golden Idol, which is sort of a similar mechanic of like throwing in words to see if like to get the like green check mark if it was right. I think actually, Alex, like what you're talking about of like not knowing whether or not they're pointing to like sound or wind. I had a lot of fun with that element of the game because it could be construed in 4 or 5 different ways. And like there were a few instances in the beginning of the game where we thought we had something correct and we were so sure on it. And then I was like, oh, wait a second. I think it was in the first level with the kid who's hiding.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Right?
I
I feel like
struggled
that
with
could
that for
be-
so much.
3 or 4 different words and they could all be correct.
Yeah.
But even in the book, also there is like the action of like pointing towards a spot and also hiding.
Right.
So we were like, is he saying go hide, or is hiding the one that I have to get?
Playing, hiding, finding, look for me. Like there was like so many different kinds of things that I couldn't figure out those 3.
Or glyphs that like meant 2 slightly different things.
Right.
Like in the first level, there was go and pass, which
I think it was pass was probably the one that like, yeah, it was annoying. Not annoying, but just like complex. And I don't know if the game, I feel like because I brute forced, I think maybe the ending of that, and it didn't. I didn't feel like I accomplished it. I feel like I kind of like tricked the game to let me keep going.
Maybe that is like actually part of the design of the game in a weird way. Because like if you know a language and you're trying to figure out a different language, you are going to misinterpret things, and you might just assume something without realizing what you're actually like. Oh, this is the wrong thing I'm assuming based on what I'm seeing. And
That makes sense.
You draw the wrong conclusion. Someone says a certain word in combination with a different word, and you pick up the wrong one, and you think it's that one.
Yeah.
And that could absolutely happen if you do
It's funny.
multiple
There
languages.
is like a lot of like kind of like 1-to-1 here with like just learning languages in general, right? Which is interesting.
And there was some where when you started a level, they would typically say, here's the equivalent, or they would give it to you. They'd say, these 4 are the same as these 4 from the past language.
They had to start you somewhere.
Yeah,
right?
which could be helpful or not help you at all.
Which was funny. I really I laughed out loud at the equivalent in the 3rd one that warrior was idiot. I laughed. I was like, idiot is really funny. Like I did not expect the word idiot to pop up there. Like it just was such a like left field word for me. And I thought, but it's interesting because the use of the word idiot, I think it actually implies a lot about the culture of each of those spaces. Like the choice of the word impure means something, right? The choice of the word idiot kind of infers something about each of the cultures of each of those layers that you're doing, right? The choices are, there's a religious feeling about maybe like the first one, it's some of the second one, like we're doing this for like, for God and all that. And then when you have a word like idiot as like what they're calling someone, it's like, okay, it implies that these people are maybe more vain, maybe more, like...
Or servants as objects.
Exactly. Right. Judgmental. Like there's something there, right? And so I liked that. It's like an interesting layer to like, they're not just different glyphs and just words being flip-flopped around. It's...
Xenophobia.
Yes. Honestly, there's my fast... Xenophobia, the game. There's my fast pitch.
The hierarchies and how everyone interacted was kind of my favorite part of this. And to go to different levels and, like you said, the idiot, but almost when you got to the top level, understand how every single culture and people spoke about each other.
Right. And that's the thing. I think the fact that the interactions between, because we'll get to the end of it, but like it is the interactions between each layer is definitely interesting. and it's subtle. Like the game doesn't just beat you over the head with it. It's like you're inferring a lot of what the game, a lot about how language and culture are kind of tied together, right? Which is interesting.
So we've talked a little bit about the intro level, the fortress, which we struggled with. You and I approached the garden, I feel, maybe in not a great way.
Oh my God. I can't believe how much you guys struggled with it.
We enter the garden, and in the garden there are a bunch of these little monkey boxes where there are these little
Flappy Bird.
Flappy Bird, exactly.
Yeah.
There are these little vignettes that have little people, and you have to figure them out. And we just went to each one of them and then gathered all the glyphs, and then could not figure out any of them because we were like, which one is this one from again? Should we give the nut to this?
You did what
again?
I did in the first layer.
Yes,
Yeah.
I wanted to say we did exactly that, and it screwed up.
Yes.
It's hard mode.
Hard
Yeah.
mode.
You did it on hard mode.
Yeah.
We went from feeling like we didn't struggle with the second level. We just didn't enjoy it as much.
Yep.
But I went from feeling like Amy Adams in Arrival, talking to the heptapods and saving the world, to the third level where I'm like, I have 2 brain cells. Like
I'm
we
this monkey with
struggled.
symbols.
I'm literally monkey with symbols. I am idiot. We struggled
I am idiot.
so
Oh my
much
God.
with the third level. It's embarrassing. I
Oh
can't
my
talk
God.
about
I'm
it.
going to need like that just as glyphs. I am idiot.
There's no other. It's the best way to put it.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's so
But we did exactly that where we collect. I think we got too ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
Not knowing what anything meant, and there was so much repetition that we would have conversations and we wouldn't get
Yeah.
anything out of it, and new
Yeah.
interactions that weren't pointing us in any direction. And we also stumbled around with the cave puzzle. Like we got there too early.
Oh, like the cave with the darkness.
The cave with the
like the
darkness.
compass and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. That would make no sense.
No, and Jacob was very sure that we could solve it.
Yeah, we could not solve it.
I will say I do like how the game, like its puzzles are, okay, you're figuring out the language, but then it's really smart about how it uses the language to make you figure out things. Like you have to watch the play in order to figure out that compass puzzle.
Okay, so here's another dumb thing that we did because we were playing. It's just like a series of misfortunate
This
events.
podcast for us is just America's Funniest Home Videos.
Truly.
Yeah.
And where's that sound on the soundboard? There we go.
Oh my God.
Because we were trading off the controller, like you sort of almost like tune out a little bit, like when you hand off the controller, like I'm going to check my text messages on my phone.
Right.
And then we would miss something on the map. And then the next person would take over and forget them. Like it happened, I think, definitely twice, if not more, of like missing a section that was crucial. Like so, we missed the section with the theater.
Oh, like fully.
Yep.
So not only
Until we needed
are
it.
you trying to learn a language, but you're also trying to communicate a broken language to another person in the same room that doesn't know what's going on.
Big user error.
Yeah.
A real relationship tester.
We're like, why are we so stupid?
So we struggled with the garden, Alex. Is there an Alex? Is there a level that you really loved or hated?
Opening level I thought was fantastic. Really, I think it was really good, like kind of orientation to the game. It gave some really like little subtle things, like there's that one puzzle where you kind of learned like the hierarchy of different people. There was like a god, then there was like
With the cards.
Yes.
but then there's like a delayed gratification of like you solving, you're like, why am I doing this? And then you like go over to like a door that goes into, I can't remember what space it was. There's like a door and you can use that hierarchy to figure out what the puzzle is. And it's like, oh, it's not just solve immediate gratification. You have to solve it, store that in your head, figure it out at a different time when you apply it. That was a fantastic piece, I thought.
There's something like that in the second level where because then you have to like disguise yourself as one of the warriors and you have to do what their boss is telling them to do. And if you hadn't figured out, like, lift this box up and put it over here because you didn't translate things correctly at that point, you could maybe not get through that area, which I really liked that. It was just a similar idea. And it did that consistently every single time.
I thought that, yeah, it set the tone for the game, and I thought it was really well executed throughout the whole thing, but that was like a perfect orientation to the whole concept of the game.
Yeah.
And then areas I didn't like, it's easy to pick the one with the language in general for the third area with the bards and all that. That language structure, the Yodanese, if you will, it was tough.
Yeah.
It was a tough one to, like, that grammar structure of like 2 end characters plus like a noun, then a verb. It was it was hard to follow.
And is that one where you had to put something in twice for it to be plural, or did that actually?
That was the first one. I think it had a little tail for plural. If I'm remembering correctly.
And depending on
double was the warrior language.
Yes.
And then later, I think it's maybe the third and fourth language. Is it not the plural
Sometimes
symbol?
it's before, sometimes it's
and sometimes it's after.
Yeah, I know. So it's confusing. I think an area that I like, once you get past that space with the bards and all that kind of stuff, the game like throws a monster at you.
Yeah.
Which honestly, I kind of loved. I'm not kidding. I'm on like a little bit of a weird horror kick.
Yes.
And this was like a left field, like, oh, we're doing stealth with like a freaking monster. And I was like, what does this mean? Unfortunately, I still don't know why there's a monster.
That was never resolved, was it?
No, it never. I don't know really the why there's a monster. But I thought it was I think had the game just gone to a new area with more language, I think it was the tonal shift or like
it's a nice change of pace.
It was a change of pace that I think the game needed at that point to just kind of break it up, be like, oh, there's something chasing me and I got to figure out like the stealth shadow light puzzle kind of thing. Just change it up, even though like the stealth is whatever.
And the game does fun stuff with perspective. Alex, you mentioned this near the start of the podcast, where the monster at one point runs either towards you or away from you, and it's kind of scary when this monster is running towards you, and it's a long run too.
Jacob, how did you feel about the monster section? Do you remember what happened?
No, I don't.
No?
No.
You want to think harder?
No, I don't.
Oh, no.
Just tell me.
He ran it, I don't know, maybe like 10 times in that first section to the left after the initial like mine cart. And there was a switch that you just didn't see.
Yeah.
And he just kept running with it. Like, the timing's off.
Yeah, because I thought the timing was so tight that I'm like, I just have a half second. I just need to get like a quarter second faster every time, and then I'll get it to work.
Oh my god!
In all fairness, that was a part thing when the rocks were falling. There was like that one section in the scientist area.
Yeah.
The scientist or alchemist, depending on which.
Those hitboxes were messy.
They were
tight. Like those were so like.
That's
I
not
get
what this was.
the language.
I was like, that rock
yeah.
did not hit me. Fix these hitboxes.
We had the same issue.
Yeah. No, I liked that space. I liked the alchemist space. I think by that point in the game, I was like, okay, I kind of get it. But I think my favorite space was the final area. Like, I think
the scientific area,
like
or past that,
that area.
Yes.
I loved I mean, I don't know if we're going all the way there, but
do we want to drop the spoiler wall?
sure.
Okay, so if you are interested in playing Chants of Sennaar and you don't want to be spoiled in the story, I think there's a couple of cool things in there. We're going to spoil everything starting now. So you have your spoiler warning. Travis, go ahead.
Yeah, so once you get past the like alchemist space scientist area, you get into like the game is surprisingly sci-fi. And I think that's why I dug it, but like I loved the color palette that was used in that final area, the like that like neon kind of pink that was used a lot, and like stained glass windows, and it was kind of deep like a
lot of purples,
and stuff. And it's a very dark feeling location where there's just people like kind of
it becomes Wall-E.
Yeah, they're just like people
Sad
kind of
Wall-E.
sitting in like VR headsets. And then you talk to them, they come out, they say things in a language you don't understand, and then they kind of go back into their thing. And it's very confusing. Like, it was very off-putting with tonal shift entirely. Like, I don't know what's going on in this space. And I really liked the art direction in that location. There's like a giant face with like signal lights coming out. It just,
That was rad.
It was cool. Like, there's a lot of really cool like imagery in that final area that I really, really, really liked. And I think it became a new high. Okay, what is this story? What are we doing here? Why is each of these layers so different and stuff like that? I think it helped make the mystery more interesting to me, as opposed to just like, okay, we're just answering language questions. There was like something more involved than what I thought there was. Robots.
Claude AI.
Yeah.
But truly, what are they? We know what they're trying to compare this to, right?
What?
parallels the real life.
Parallels real life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've gone through like early humans, you're kind of getting more involved, more warrior-y, then you go more scientific, and then end state is us, a bunch of people sitting in VR basically tuning out to the world.
That sounds...
But
Every day.
It sounds like
also
Black Mirror episode right here.
should
Interesting.
all of those folks make everyone else subservient to them?
Right.
Jessica has feelings.
No, I was surprised by that tonal shift in the last level.
Yeah.
I don't think we saw that coming at all.
Especially for that first area feeling so...
Yes.
Like, it didn't... Like, there, it felt ancient. There was like an ancient feeling in that first space. And then to have it feel so like, oh, futuristic-y. I don't... But then it's kind of there the whole time. The consoles and stuff like that. You're like, oh, this actually... It wasn't magic. It was tech. It's interesting how it does work, like theming-wise for the whole space, but it's masked really well with like the way the music and the art style and everything kind of like hides the fact that like, oh, there's a lot of like sci-fi shit going on here.
You ever notice how some games don't need 100 hours to leave a mark?
Absolutely. I'm Michael.
And I'm Marcus. We're the host of Tiny Game Chronicles, a podcast that celebrates games that are small in scope, but huge in heart.
Every other week, we dive into games that you can finish in a few hours, but think about for days after.
We've been exploring these hidden gems, and every time it feels like uncovering something extraordinary.
So whether you're short on time or just love discovering new worlds, join us.
Listen to Tiny Game Chronicles on your favorite podcast app, or catch us on YouTube.
Tiny Game Chronicles, where every other week we discuss games that are quick plays,
But epic journeys.
Do you feel like you're the only person in your circle who wants to go deep about video games regularly?
We were like that too. Until now.
Welcome to Crossplay Conversations, the brand new bi-weekly topical video game podcast from Luke Lewis,
Joseph Hooper.
And Jacob McCoy.
With many years of breaking it down separately on shows like the Left Behind Game Club, Player Podcast, and Lukewarm Games, the gang is finally coming together to publish their gaming group chat in audio form every other week.
Expect roundtable reviews of the latest games, profiles of upcoming indies, and insightful conversations about essential topics in the video game industry. All with a mostly positive, insightful, and fun style.
Help us out by subscribing on your podcast platform of choice to get the first episodes delivered straight to your feed.
And follow us on Twitter at Crossplay Convos for updates about the show.
Cheers and happy gaming.
Do we talk about the story in depth now?
Do I understand the story in depth?
Did you?
I don't know.
Did anybody?
You are the key that's been created. Oh gosh. I'm like, is that wrong? I don't know. To reunite the people of the tower and
Yes.
to take over from the evil AI bot that is actually Exile.
It's called Exile.
Right?
And he wants to keep... Well, I guess it's probably a man.
I mean,
Odds are.
what history
yeah.
shows us it's probably a
Anything that
man.
destroys must
there's
be.
a good chance. So the AI Exile wants to keep everyone in exile because for some reason, if everyone talks to each other, it's not powerful anymore.
A little unclear.
A little unclear. Yeah. Why is there a monster? I don't know. That's fine. But I think it does do it because then once you've figured that, you need to, get the layers of, because the final, once you've figured out like the last kind of and honestly, that last area with the language stuff, I kind of really liked the puzzles
I think some of the last puzzles were like the most satisfying.
like in that exile area.
And how quickly you learn all of the glyphs.
Yes. I really liked the one where it kind of,
The wheel?
not the wheel. The wheel, I felt like I was guessing.
Yeah.
There's a wheel where you're kind of like,
The wheel had a super easy pattern to it every single time.
I just kind of spun until it clicked.
It was I actually found the last area, the puzzles, were probably the easiest entire game.
Yes, I agree.
But it
Because
felt
you
like
literally
good
could just
job.
pick one. Because there's all
was
like
more
because it
positional.
was locked into yeah, exactly. You could just figure it out by like locking in positions.
Yeah.
There was like a thing where you could, the middle ones are fixed, so you just pick the fixed one, and then it would lock in another spot, and then you just like kind of backwards, like it was like a backwards logic.
I don't feel like I thought much with those. I just kind of clicked in until it worked, and it took me like a few seconds.
In all fairness, there's only a couple combinations that actually work.
Yeah.
So like it's
Yeah.
Every ring has to have 3 I think that's how it worked.
There was no challenge, but it all felt like a pat on the back.
Yes.
Like it felt like a reward.
There is one right before you figure out that you are the chosen one, where you have to kind of prove yourself, where you're kind of taking pieces of glyphs from other languages to kind of create maybe the original language kind of thing. And I liked that one a lot.
We loved that one.
I loved that because it was kind of like, oh, here's the original language and here's the pieces that each of these cultures took to create their own glyphs, right? And you see that with how, at the very end, how like the god became a different glyph for each language, and how, you know, we all came from one people, and then culture and division separated us out culturally, right? Like there's a really good metaphor here for like humanity as a whole, right? Like that I think I really... Maybe I don't care for how it executed it once you figured out the Exile stuff, and then having to go back through the game again to connect every layer, because you're essentially having to do puzzles where, okay, this character from this world, this layer, is trying to interact with a character from a different layer, and you have to use your knowledge of both languages to facilitate a conversation between them. And I don't think I care for the traversal over the spaces that we had previously, but I really liked the meaning behind those puzzles, because it was kind of very much like, if we just talked to each other, maybe we would all understand each other a little better, and then we would all get along.
Well, and the best part was also when you had those conversations at times, things would change in the world,
right,
because these folks had conversations.
In my plant haven, my plants are no longer dying because the scientist gave me plant medicine, essentially. But that's the thing, right? But there's so much division because these layers have been so locked away from each other. And literally, it's great. Just, I don't know, have a friend who's slightly different than you, and your worldview opens up, right?
Have a friend who knows about plants.
Literally.
That's you.
Oh, that's me. Plant haven. But the negative side of that is I really don't. I found it very tedious. I don't know about you guys.
Like the last half an hour, basically.
Yeah.
I didn't mind the translation puzzles.
Yeah.
I actually thought that was...
I like the puzzles.
I like the connection of all the puzzles
but the getting to them.
Yes.
Trying to figure out which direction to go and following the...
Remembering the areas.
Yeah, I didn't enjoy that either.
Yeah, it's like I teleport to the one, but then I kind of got to figure out where the secret console is to then unlock it. And it was it was close enough, but it wasn't close enough at the same time. Where I
think to do them all, it took about half an hour to 45 minutes to
just
do
felt
the
tedious.
translations, and then also go into the areas where you have to shut down parts of Exile.
Yeah.
I think
With more stealth.
We ended up doing a thing where and I think I told you guys this, we finished the game where we went up to the summit and we tried to finish, but because we hadn't done the translations and we hadn't actually turned off Exile, you hit credits, but nothing happens.
Oh, did you have that?
Yeah, I had a double ending.
Oh, see, I didn't do that because I saw the big staircase and went, oh, I went too far and there's something, I didn't go back to that door, so I left that space almost immediately.
And there's another AI on the screen telling you not, or another person on the screen telling you not to go up.
Oh,
he
interesting.
warns you, and we're like,
see, I walked into that space and was like, this feels endgame and I'm not done because I did a little bit of too far of exploring. So then I turned around and then I found the area that is a little bit more secret that you have to go to then unlock those puzzles. So I didn't get that, like 2 credits. I just got the final game at the end.
I did like at the end how you had to kind of go through, like, it got very video gamey in a section at the end.
Like, what do you mean?
There's a section where you kind of have to go through a...
like you're in your own mind. Yeah, simulation thing. I did like that, actually. A bit. It was kind of...
I think you handed me the controller and said, you take this. When it got gamey in that simulation part.
Because it's literally just like run around and like get through this space in your own brain. But I really liked the ending of that where you like find yourself and you've been put into an Exile VR machine too. I thought that was really good.
And then you find out you're a robot also.
Yeah, you were created?
Yeah.
key.
You're the key.
But you didn't know you were like an inorganic life form until that moment.
So the way I interpreted that is, so if
Hello
anyone's
world.
if anyone's familiar with the Rosetta Stone, like the concept of like it was like a stone that had like multiple translations to help
interesting.
convert different like hieroglyphics and other stuff between languages. That's how they kind of figured out how to read like Egyptian.
Wait,
So-
Rosetta Stone's not a person?
No, Rosetta Stone was like literally it was
legit, I'm not kidding. I thought Rosetta Stone was just the lady who made
who wrote the software.
the lady who like the
Is
inventor
Stone.
of Rosetta Stone, and you can buy her books. Like legit, I'm not kidding.
Like her first name is Rosetta.
I thought her first name was Rosetta.
Like Martha
I'm not
Stewart,
kidding.
Rosetta Stone.
I'm not
like it's
kidding.
fine.
Rosetta Stone is a thing.
Yeah,
I am learning.
Are you learning this in the moment?
In the moment, I did not know this was a thing.
I was like, I'm going to be dumb and I'll step on my foot here.
No.
So we're dumb
I
together.
legitimately thought Rosetta Stone was a lady.
Shh, smart person talking.
Okay,
Go ahead.
yes.
So it's like a tablet that was found, like a partial thing in like the 1800s, and it had like a ability to translate languages. So someone basically did a translation between multiple languages. So I assume the idea they're trying to come across is you are like the Rosetta Stone, and you're forming that like you're making those little lasers that connect when you do all the language connections, and it forms the stone. It like turns.
Fascinating. That's the very end of the game when it does that.
You're a victim of capitalism.
Wow. Legit.
Wow. Right? You're like, I can see the CD-ROM cover of Rosetta Stone from the 90s.
There's like a lady on it. She's Rosetta Stone's language learning books. Like that feels right. Like I don't know why. I did not know. Rosetta. I just figured someone's name.
Okay, smart guy. Then the sort of Exile big mask mouth, there was like data coming down into it, or like
Andros.
a red stream of what I thought
Star
was
Fox.
data. Are we feeding data up to some alien craft or up to the cloud? We're feeding data into the cloud,
I
right?
assume it's just AI. It's fine. It's gonna go somewhere. We're training.
set piece.
We're training an LLM right now to like figure out how to do this all
And
for
what's
us.
funny is this game came out in 2023, so they had been working on it probably in COVID in 2020 when LLMs were barely a concept. Were kind of just a concept at that point.
Natural language models, they were pretty novel at that point. They people knew they existed, but they were not mainstream by any stretch.
Interesting.
Damn.
I really liked that screen with that big face with the lights going up to the sky.
Jacob also loved it.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is sweet.
But we were for sure that it was going to be tied into something else once you turn off
Aliens.
Once you turn off the main AI, and then it was just off.
It was just off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
Maybe.
You wanted Big Alien to come down?
Oh, I don't know. It's
You
like
wanted to be Amy Adams in Arrival.
No, I already explained my
are.
2 brain cells. I learned how stupid I was.
Was there a moment where you felt like a genius? Because I will start and say there was one moment in I think it was Alchemists, where you had to essentially figure out there was like 4 quadrants and they equaled to a number. And there was a device that allowed you to figure out like a number to get a code to get into a door. And I figured that out, and Jess could not.
Oh, really?
She could not. She's like, I don't understand what you're doing. I'm like, yes, the quadrants. And then you make the numbers and then you punch in a code.
Where you put like the weights on a scale. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah,
Yes.
tied into that one.
It didn't make me feel like a genius because I felt like I figured it out, but it took me a long time, and it didn't make me feel like a genius. I felt like, oh God, I did not get this one.
So that is the one puzzle in the entire game I had to look up. Not because I didn't understand the puzzle. It's
Okay.
because I connected the weights to the clue before.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because there's like, you're supposed to go into that dark lab area, and then that would tell you what the code's supposed to be and then do it. I was trying to like figure it out from like scratch, trying to think there's like some sort of really sneaky puzzle, but it was just actually more like I just missed an entire room.
Just didn't walk in
I
that
just
direction.
I missed a clue first.
You watched me and you were like, I don't know what you're doing, man.
Like 20 seconds. He's like, I got it. And then just immediately started.
I am not good with word puzzles. I am exceedingly good with math puzzles.
But we also struggled with the first chalkboard of not realizing that actually you have to go into the second room. No? Because you see the chalkboard in the lab that has the little, I don't even know what you would call it, like the little device where you can tabulate on.
It was like the calculator.
The calculator. And then you have to go into the second room, the hidden lab, to find the actual value on the chalkboard that's not crossed off. We struggled there too.
Yeah, I forgot to. Yeah, I just never found
You
that
just
clue.
didn't turn right.
I just never went into there, and I was like, "Where is like?" I'm trying to figure it out from scratch, basically, and I'm like, I know what I'm doing, but I don't know what number I'm trying to get.
Yeah, you were convinced for the longest time that the silver, gold, bronze machine was a red herring, as well.
Yeah.
So you redeemed yourself.
Yeah, I did. I redeemed myself with math. You'll just never forgive. When we played Lorelei and the Laser Eyes.
Oh, I'm like almost done that.
There's a part where I thought that there was triangles and it was about angles, and so I just kept staring at the screen going like, it's an isosceles triangle. It was not an isosceles triangle. It had nothing to do with it, but Lorelei's a great game.
Yes,
also.
yeah, I'm almost done. So close.
That's how I felt like a genius. How did y'all feel like geniuses? Any puzzle we haven't talked about?
I don't know if I don't know if there was a puzzle that I thought like, oh, I got this immediately. I don't think I had one. I think it was like I enjoyed like figuring out the puzzles, but none of them felt like, oh, I gotcha. I'm so much smarter than the game. I very much felt like, oh, like I figured this out the way it's supposed to be figured out generally.
For me, it was the very, very first area when they said, oh, you can do those clues. You can make your own notes. And then you go in, and before they introduced that first mechanic where the notebook pops up with the clues,
right?
I had guessed all of my words as like I already knew what they were the very first time they came up, and I almost had a perfect match, like word for word.
Wow.
Oh, wowza.
And then I was like, oh, this game's not as hard as I actually thought it was going to be.
And then the game came down and slapped you. And said,
I was like, oh,
no.
Okay, this isn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Like, this game's going to be intense. And then it ended up kind of that clue piece kind of eased it up quite a bit.
Did we all like land around the same playtime?
It literally was.
Oh, really? Wow.
What I was going to ask.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
What'd you guys land around? Like, how long did it take for you guys to?
I'm just going to look at it. What did you guys?
Do you know how
at?
roughly you were?
I think I was closer to 15 hours, which according to how long to beat is a little on the long side. But I was playing this like on vacation. True. On a plane.
Right. So it was just open at times?
Sometimes during nap time with my daughter while we're sitting at a plate. Like, it was just like, I was just,
Johnny, I'm figuring out language.
Yeah. Quiet. Sleep a little bit more, please. Yeah. It's fine.
13 hours and 52 minutes is what. But we had two brains. So we should actually be discounting more time off that, and we didn't. So
how did I only land at like 11 point something?
Because you're some kind of genius.
No, because I don't feel like I was. Like I feel like I was like I think about 12. But like,
so he's saying he's not a genius and took us longer. So what does that mean for us?
He's calling us dumbs.
No, no, I don't feel like, I don't know why. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I feel like maybe I brute forced a couple of them. So like I didn't maybe struggle too long because I was just like, I'm just going to brute force these ones. Like, and just kind of kept pushing.
So did we. But again, like I already sort of touched on like the points where I feel like we wasted time thinking that we needed to like with the cave compass,
right?
And like thinking that we had the answer when we absolutely didn't. And I think the game was smart in that way, where it was more linear than we thought it was, and we just weren't ready to solve the problem that we had access to.
Yeah, see, I solved that. That's the thing. I think the game
because we couldn't find the theater.
That's the thing. I think
we didn't turn left.
Because I did that early on. I made the game more. I was like, oh no, this is simpler than I'm making it out to be. So, and I think I met the game exactly where I think it was supposed to be, and so that's probably why I like kind of paced pretty well. But yeah.
Any other genius times?
I don't think.
If not, I guess I have a closing question for us.
Oh, okay.
So, actually, two closing questions. How did we feel overall about our time playing Chants of Sennaar?
I liked it.
Okay.
I liked it a lot. I'm really happy I played with it. I played it.
There aren't many games like Chants of Sennaar.
No, and I think that's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I think a puzzle game, like I can't compare this to really much of anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Like these types of puzzles, I can't think of anything else that's really like this.
No, because even something like a Rise of the Golden Idol or a Case of the Golden Idol.
Yeah. It's deducting stuff, but it's not deducting things like this.
So different.
Very different.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it. I would play other similar games if like folks developed within the genre. I thought it was a little uneven. Like there were certain elements where like we were so frustrated on the third level. And again, I didn't love the colors and the theming of the second level, but overall, I had a lot of fun playing.
Yeah.
love this type of puzzle game. But I would say this one's more in the like rather than the love. Mostly because I feel like they could have had a mechanic maybe where they turned down the hints a little bit. I would have liked, based on how I kind of did that first section where I really got that huge dopamine hit off like solving it with like raw, basically, without any clues. I liked that. And the fact that they didn't offer an option to not, like almost like a clue function, like, hey, you're struggling. Do you want to see the prompt? That would have been a mechanic that I think would have enhanced that if you wanted an additional like challenge to that.
Yeah, like I could see a version of this game without the book.
Yes.
Right? Like,
Whoa.
And that feels like a hard mode, but I kind of like
optional book. Like,
Right.
here's a hint. Would you like a hint?
Yeah, do you want to see the sketch? Like, you know what I mean? And maybe you're just going off purely off vibes and you're writing words in, you're never getting confirmation. That seems like hard, but I kind of feel like I would have liked to try that.
Because you could have had the confirmation just by having like, instead of doing the book, you could have conversations with people that could have confirmed it. So you could have been a little more creative with the mechanic.
Kind of like the words then become
like,
a sentence.
Oh, I did it and I got the right answer. So then it kind of confirms what you're doing, which could be a double-edged sword if you went on that mechanic purely. But I think it could be a really interesting thing if they went with like if they choose to make another one of these types of games.
Yeah. I think the difficulty level for this game was like almost spot on for me. Like almost exactly like what I could figure out. And I think the idea that like, oh, there could be a harder mode that I could try. I think the fact that I could brute force it made me feel like, this is a little too, like there's too many ways for me to not have to think. And if I could have just had a, like, take away some of the things that make it easier, I would have maybe liked a little bit more challenge.
Well, and it never also it never really peaks. Like you finish the third level
same,
and
yeah.
you get to the fourth and it's like, oh, actually we're back to like this is
Right.
It felt like the epilogue, right? Because it was so spoon fed.
Yes. And nothing really changes. That last Exile area gives you some interesting different ways to kind of solve it, but it's fast.
You're not really.
No, you're kind of just quickly doing it, right? So there isn't a lot of. It is the same game almost the whole way through.
The last area wasn't even solving language. It was solving like a matching puzzle,
Right.
essentially.
Yeah, you weren't
it wasn't.
really learning a language.
It was a weird mechanic that kind of felt disconnected from the game, even though it was a puzzle.
Yeah,
it was not really a language puzzle.
Yeah, I think like I stopped interacting with the glyphs as much the farther I got. I stopped writing even words into the glyphs as like, I think this might be open. It's kind of like, this is probably open, and then I'll just throw it into the thing because I'm pretty sure this one's open and I'm pretty sure this one's closed. And I stopped even really dissecting the glyphs the farther along I got in the game because I felt like I could just go on vibes alone.
And going back to the hint system comment, there is a hint system in here, but it's basically just a way to navigate around to see the stuff that you've interacted with and not interacted with. Essentially, you can hit a button, and then there's a little dot that comes up to be like, you have hit this before, you have interacted with this before. And they call that the hint system, but there's not a true hint system.
Like the R or the L,
Yes.
like the pressing the thing, and it shows up like you can interact with anything on the screen like that. I did use that a bit.
Yeah, we use that all the time.
Yeah, just be like, what can I touch here? Because I mean, the game is very pretty, but there isn't really anything indicating what you can interact with. Nothing's glowing. There's no yellow paint telling you where to go.
It's not the old style game where like it had the backgrounds pre-rendered and then like all the interactable items are like,
it's very obvious.
It's like, this is like clearly not a pre-rendered item.
Yeah, it's almost like, here's this set piece and we made it so you can walk in here and you didn't even know that you could do that, right?
So I'm not a wild smarty when it comes to puzzle games, and it's
You
not.
hate words.
It's actually less at my patience. I don't have tons of patience.
Yeah.
And so I think the thing that I would say to someone who is curious about this, if you're smart, it's actually more about your patience. Do you have enough patience to sit there, figure it out? You don't need a notebook, but it is one that you'll have to kind of go to different areas, think about it, do some trial and error. And if that's not your thing, that is this entire game.
Yeah.
So if and I think what's nice is the first 2 hours is actually a really nice microcosm of your of the experience you're going to have.
Yeah, and it's the same more or less through the rest of the game.
So if you don't vibe with the first 2 hours, you're not going to vibe with the next 13.
I feel like I'm being overly negative a little. I really did enjoy my time with it. I'm pointing out the things that I didn't like, but I think that's because I like it And I think that the little negative parts make me be like, you could have been, there's a few things that would have been a little bit better.
Fine tuning.
A little bit.
And that's how I feel.
Because I did really like it. And so the small little frictions, I think, made it that like, there's like small frictions that make it harder to recommend. Cause like, the stealth sections are okay. You know, like there's a few oddball things where I'm like, oh no, I actually really like this because it's unique.
So if you had to guess on OpenCritic,
oh gosh,
what the rating of this game out of 100 is, what would the number that you'd throw out there? And note that OpenCritic usually is a little bit lower than Metacritic, so that's the one I'm picking for here. So what do you think, Travis? Let me just say, I enjoyed my time with it, but it is not a game I probably would have done alone. I don't think I could have done it alone, so I put that warning out there that if you don't have a lot of patience, this is not the game for you. And in this case, I wouldn't have finished it without you. I would have abandoned it. So
you didn't even want to finish the book.
I did not. I got to the point where I'm like, I think I'm good here. I got what I need here. But we saw it through, and I'm glad I stuck it out with you.
Oh.
OpenCritic rating, Travis.
79.
Alex.
I was going to say 78, but I will now change it. so like Price is Right. I'll go with a
$1.
80.
I was gonna go like 81.
Nobody's got it. You had to keep going a little higher.
Really?
The OpenCritic rating is 82.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Close.
That's 78 to 82.
That feels right.
Yeah, that feels right.
Yep.
Let me just read off a couple of quick reviews before I ask you guys my last question. Eurogamer gave it a 4 out of 5. This is Christian Donlin said, crack a handful of languages, then wield them in this mesmerizing adventure game. God is a Geek gave it 8 out of 10. Lyle Carr said, Chants of Sennaar is one of the most unique and interesting puzzle games I've ever played, and it routinely makes you feel like a genius. And then finally, Digital Trends, Giovanni Colantonio gave it a 4.5 stars out of 5, and said Chants of Sennaar is an ingenious linguistic puzzle game that takes the right notes from genre greats like The Return of the Obra Dinn.
Interesting.
So my final question then, I've named some other games. We've talked about some other games. Once people get through Chants of Sennaar, any other games that you'd recommend that give you that same feeling?
Oof. I don't know.
I think Golden Idol is probably the closest.
I've never played a Golden Idol game. So
the first one.
So there's Case of the Golden Idol, which is the first one, and then Rise of the Golden Idol, which is the second.
Skip this.
Yeah, I tend to agree that these games gave me a similar feeling.
vibe.
Yeah, except this one's about more figuring out. It's almost like a scene, and then.
But there's still so much context in Golden Idol where it could be 5 or 6 different situations, and you need to learn more to understand fully. Unless you're Alex and you're like, I did it right away.
But less about language and glyphs, and instead it's
scenarios.
Mad Lib.
It's their
Mad Libs.
tableaus that you're trying to figure out and identify characters and motives, and
there's a whole story that I think the first one especially is kind of cool.
much stronger.
Yeah,
So those are ours.
I don't know if I can think of a game that is like a filling in the blanks kind of game like this.
Or even one that you have to intuit and figure things out and give you a similar feeling.
Any other like language deciphering?
Duck Detective. Those are quite fun.
I'm not sure. I don't know of another game that does like languagey things like this.
Can I make a call? And I think you're this person. Have you played and liked Tunic?
I have not played or liked. I haven't played it. So
I have not played
it or liked it somehow.
Okay, because that seems like a game that, having heard you walk through it, Tunic is a game you should probably at some
I've
point.
never played Tunic. Is this some? No, because how is this similar to Tunic?
You played Tunic.
I played Tunic. Yeah, Tunic. There's a book.
Okay.
And there is a language to figure out and decipher.
Interesting.
Yeah, without giving away more here.
What do you think is the difference between patience requirements?
Because Tunic has action to it, where this game is purely about
just walking around.
The walking around and figuring out the language.
You hate walking.
I hate walking in real life and in video games. Baba's you?
You know what? Completely like different, but it is using sentence structure to solve puzzles. So yeah, I do love Baba Is You, but it's not something that comes to mind because it's very different in how you're using, but it is very kind of almost similar grammar. Like it is very much like key is open. Like it's very like
Logic based.
You're using words to kind of solve things. So yeah, no, Baba's user. That's actually, it's not similar at all, but it is
gives you a similar feeling.
Yeah, a little bit. You're playing around with it in a way that is, you're breaking language to make it work for you. Where this is kind of like you're having to figure it out, and the language isn't breaking. You're having to figure it out. Where you're using regular language in Baba's You to break it to figure out the past, like to get through the puzzle.
Baba Is You, Tunic, Duck Detective, The Secret Salami, The Case of the Golden Idol, and The Rise of the Golden Idol. 5 recos if you want to play more games like this one.
Nice.
Any further last notes on Chants of Sennaar?
No.
Going once, going twice.
I like it a lot. I feel like I'm being too negative. I don't know. I'm holding on. For some reason, I feel like I've nitpicked too much. I actually really like it.
Do you want a sequel to it?
Yeah, I would 100% play sequel.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
In a heartbeat.
I love it.
Yeah.
100. Yeah, give me more. I want more glyphs.
Enjoy, guys. Have fun with it. That is our episode about Chants of Sennaar. Stick around. We got some cool new episodes coming. Travis, anything you want to tease with episodes coming in the near future?
Near.
Maybe the next one. What's the next one?
It's between 2.
Okay. Give it to us. Tell us what's coming.
You know what? It'll happen.
Okay, great.
Give
us one of them.
Okay. So I'm the one holding us back here. We have pretty much finished Quantum Break between me, Alex, and Jacob. So odds are Quantum Break is likely the next episode to come out. That's been a lot of fun for me. I think there's a lot to talk about there. We haven't recorded the episode yet, but I am excited to kind of do that one and put it out there because it's been a game on my backlog for a really long time.
That's a video game that exists.
Oh God. Whenever you say that, I know what that means, and I'm excited to talk about it. We can't talk about it here.
We cannot. If folks want to find y'all on the internet, maybe we'll start with Jess. If people want to find you on the internet, where can they do that?
That side of the table's not on the internet.
They can't. I'm an internet ghost. Maybe I'll pop into the Discord once a year.
Oh, and where can people find that? It's leftbehindgame.club/Discord.
There you go. Find me there.
Find her there. Alex, can you be found on the internet?
No. I am in the same boat. I am a hermit that lives under a rock, so I'm on the Discord under a synonym or whatever that term is.
A pseudonym?
Pseudonym. That's the one. It makes me sound like...
Did you actually solve it without any hints on the first level?
Doesn't even know the word for
I don't know words.
Pseudonym, synonym.
Travis, where can you be found on the internet?
Oh, I guess I am on the internet. Are we going from like least on the internet to most on the internet?
Which is funny because I'm always on the internet, but I long time lurker.
Yeah.
Forever
lurker.
Travis, you don't lurk on Blue Sky.
Kinda I do. I post sometimes. I'm on Blue Sky, Travis Colnet at bsky.social.
Great.
But I'm mostly in the Discord chatting it up.
And you can find me on the internet at jacob.bsky.social. That's where I do most of my blabbing. And for those of you listening who are going to be at PAX East, a bunch of us are going to be there. And if you want to check out a cool panel with sweet folks, please come out on Saturday night to the Bobcat Theater at 7:30 p.m. Video Game Trivia Judgment Hour returns with a lovely bunch of folks. We've got Moises, we've got Finn, we've got Mr. Badbit, we've got Adam Gumbert, we've got the 2 gals from No Small Games. It should be a lot of fun. 7:30 Saturday, PAX East. Be there or be square.
Wow.
And that's basically our show. I mentioned this off the hop, but if you want to do us some favors, send this podcast to a friend because that's how people hear about podcasts, and give us a 5-star review on your podcasting platform of choice because it truly, truly does help. You can track all things Left Behind Game Club on our Blue Sky at leftbehindgameclub.bsky.social. And with that, shout out Mike Ruffalo. That, my friends, is one less game left behind.
Woo!
Do you find yourself playing older games and wishing that there were new discussions about those games? Enter Tales from the Backlog. Hi, I'm Dave Jackson, and on each episode, I'm joined by a guest to break down those games that may be stuck in your ever-expanding backlog. Each episode looks at one game in depth, focusing on mechanics, story, music, and other aspects with no spoilers until a clearly marked spoiler wall in the middle. If you've played the game, go ahead and climb that spoiler wall and enjoy in-depth story discussions, and if not, jump out when we warn you and maybe go play that game for yourself. We have over 100 episodes in the feed, everything from Disco Elysium to Tunic to discussion episodes about how to get into horror games, and if games actually need to be fun, or if they have more to offer. I guarantee that there's something in there for everybody. Once again, that's Tales from the Backlog, available wherever your podcasts are found.
Video games are a unique medium.
They can tell stories,
Immerse us in strange, fantastic worlds.
blur the very boundaries of our reality.
But at the end of the day, video games are fun. Whatever fun is to you.
I'm Jeff Moonen.
And I am Matt, a.k.a. Stormageddon.
And on Fun and Games, we talk about the history, trends, and community of video games.
It's a celebration of all the games we play and all the fun we find within them.
And there's so many more games out there. So we hope you'll share in that conversation with us.
Fun and Games podcast with Matt and Jeff. Find us on certainpov.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
And happy gaming.